Hey, good people. It's Voice Memo for Later, episode 33. I didn't think I would ever say that again. And aren't you impressed that I actually knew the episode number? I cheated. I looked at the podcasting app before I started this. I was like, let me get this one right. It's been a while, so let me actually do some studying. That's not studying. That's just opening up an app and looking. It's fine. Whatever. Okay. So let me address this right up the top. I totally lied to you guys. You guys being like, I don't know, whoever listens. I have no idea who listens to this. I know of like a couple people that have said they've listened to some episodes, but I think the app said I've had like 60 total plays like in history, I think. So not that many. Couple people per episode maybe, if that. So I don't know who's listening to this right now, but whoever is, if you listen to the last episode, I definitely lied to you. Well, it's not lying. I didn't know what the future holds, but I thought that I was done with this podcast. I am still starting a new podcast at some point here, once I work out the details and find some people to record with for maybe some of the first guest episodes. Title pending. It's going to be about the learning process, but that one's going to be a bit more structured. But you know what? The honest God truth, I miss this. It's been since the summertime since I recorded a VMFL episode, and I miss it. It's like my diary, and you can't just throw away your diary. Why would you do that? So this will be around. Is not going to be a weekly thing like it used to be. Well, that was like, I guess the running gag is it was supposed to be weekly, and then I would skip weeks, and that happened a bunch towards the end because I got pretty burnt out. But I do not feel burnt out right now. I feel excited and ready to talk to you guys, or to myself, whoever it ends up being. But yeah, I'm excited for another little diary entry, if you will. I wanted to talk today about growth and evolution because I feel like I've been going through quite a bit of one recently. Been working out, lost 15 pounds or something so far. I've been meditating a little bit here and there, which is kind of weird for me. It's kind of out of my usual wheelhouse, but I'm trying to change all that. I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm trying to become a better version of me. You know, I like who I am, but I kind of, feel like I gave up on myself for a little bit there. Kind of felt like I was coasting, and I didn't like that. So with some encouragement from family and friends, I have been putting in the work, and I'm feeling good. I've been thinking a lot. My brain has just been firing nonstop, and so I was like, I need to record a podcast, man. This has just been too long. But I wanted to talk about growth and evolution today. Let's just start with this. It's not easy. I think that's kind of the obvious, right? It's definitely not easy. Comfort zones are so nice, right? Because you get used to life just being what it is. You find the things you're good at, and you just kind of stick to it. It feels good to find that zone that you can occupy, it's your house, it's yours. But goddamn, a comfort zone will kill a dude, all right? Or a chick or any whatever you identify as. It will kill you, okay? It's not good. You don't want to stay there. You can visit your comfort zone, that's fine. Everybody needs to visit their comfort zone sometimes. Life gets overwhelming. You go to your comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with that. But you should not live there. I was living there for a little bit. I think I was living in my comfort zone, and that was just bad. Why is it bad? It stunts all your growth, and growth is the only way you survive in this world. You have to grow and evolve. If you don't, well, it used to be if you didn't grow and evolve, some predator would kill you because you're not adapting to your environment or something. I don't know. That sounded stupid. I don't know what it was like to live back then. I have no idea. But yeah, it's things happen. The world changes around you. If you don't change with it, you're going to get left behind. And yeah, that sucks. So it's hard. Let's just start there, right? It is very hard to grow and evolve. There can be some pain with it too. Like, and some of that pain is because you, like, part of you, well, you know, it's kind of like when you work out, like you know, your muscles are like breaking down and like, then they're rebuilding and all this stuff. And that can happen like emotionally too. When you're doing like the full package thing, like I am, where, you know, cause I'm physically, that's like, you know, obviously a big part of it, right? I'm trying to like get healthy, but I'm trying to like mentally get healthier too. And, yeah, when you try to meditate and you try to like do some deep soul searching, you know, you got to clean out the closet, and the demons are in the closet, right? So it gets painful. It gets rough at times, but then you pull through. You know, hopefully you've got support around you. It's always good to have people to support you. I've been lucky to have people that support me, and you know, and then you can pull through it and you get through to the other side, and you feel so much better. And that's the crazy thing too, is like when you are trying to evolve, it seems like the worst thing ever. Like when you're starting out, you're like, why am I doing this? Why would I, like, I was in my comfort zone. That was great there. Why would I leave my comfort zone? It's my special place, you know? But then you start into it, and it hurts and it sucks, and it's like, you know, it's difficult. And then you start making real strides, and you're like, holy shit, that's all it took? Like I don't know, it's like more daunting, I think, than what it actually ends up being. It's actually not as bad once you get going. It's just the starting that's hard. And everybody knows that, I think, about like working out, generally speaking. Like, that's pretty common knowledge. Like, yeah, it sucks to get started, but usually once you get started, it gets a little easier, yada, yada, yada. But like I said, I think like that emotional and mental work that you do, that's it comes with that same thing. It's like, it feels like you're like hurting yourself instead of like helping yourself. You're like, well, I felt good before, and then I started like dealing with all these feelings and thoughts, and like, God, that's terrible. Like, if there's a God out there, like, why did God invent feelings? Like, that's terrible. Let's make those fucking go away, you know? But you got to address those. You got to address everything. I just turned away from the mic. I don't know. I was looking over. I'm in a closet right now, by the way. I'm in my wife's closet. Shout out my wife, Autumn. Surrounded by her clothes and stuff. The acoustics are better in here. And the cat and the dog can't get to me, so they can't bother me while I'm trying to record an episode. I do have some questions and subjects and whatnot to answer here. I fielded some questions, or I reached out to some of my new friends, Hannah and Leif, and they have some stuff for me to talk about. So let's see. I'll start with, so Leif wanted to know about consciously choosing what societal forces to wield versus passively succumbing to defaults. That is like a, So there's definitely defaults. I think we all know what those are, you know? You see it every day. It's just the way everyone is around you. The way people kind of act as like a system. Because that's what humans are. We're like this big system. We're big. We're kind of like a giant like organism, but it's just like spread across the planet, you know? And we move as like this huge organism. We like spread, and we kind of like gather, and then we spread more, and then we gather and we spread. And there's these ideas that are shared, right? And then like people latch on to the common ideas, and they roll with those. And I think something that I've realized in recent years, like there's been a lot of like political activism where people are trying to like tear down systems. And I think like that's not really the best approach, to just tear stuff down. Because then it's like, well, hang on. First of all, have you thought about what's going to fill the void? Like, what's going to go there instead? And I'm sure people that are really like politically active, they have all sorts of answers, right? Everyone's got answers when it comes to politics. Everyone's got a whole bunch of weird answers. But and there could be some good ideas in there, right? But this idea of like tearing stuff down, I think you have to examine like what's there, because there could be some good in it. And I would be willing to, venture out and guess here that there probably is like a decent amount of good in there. And then there's probably some bad in there too, right? But you have to examine what's good before you just throw it away. Because then, you'll be throwing something away, and then it turns out like, oh, there's actually like a real benefit to this. This is why people did it in the first place. It's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater type of metaphor, I think that applies here. So, I don't know. I think you do need to choose some societal forces to wield to help you. I think community type stuff, like churches and things like that. I'm not a religious person, but I think like those types of institutions serve an important purpose in like bringing people together, sharing like common sort of ideals. And I think that's something that's probably important in growth. And I've been like seeking that out through just like friendship and stuff. I talk to people and exchange ideas. Hannah has this thing, Mind If We Chat, that they do. I think it's like once a month. And people just get together and they have some topic, and then they like share their ideas about that topic, and they just kind of go around the room and talk about it. It's pretty cool. And so that was, I went to one of them. I'm planning on going to another one here this month. And, I guess that's my way of like trying to join a community again, and then obviously like I'm a comedian. So there's like comics, you talk to them, you try to, I don't know what's been going on, but the comedy scene's been a little weird recently. People have been less together, it felt like, but I try to enjoy every moment when I'm in the green room or something, and like just hanging out with people, trying to like, trying to bond. And so I think like community is a huge thing. So like I guess you would call that a societal force that you can wield. Because when you have a community of people, you're stronger than just you by yourself, right? That just makes sense, of course. So like, why would you tackle a problem with one brain when you could tackle a problem with like, 12 brains or 20 brains or something, right? Maybe you could tackle a problem with like 100 brains. I mean, at a certain point, you're going to reach, is it called Dunbar's number, I think? The number of people that somebody can like actually realistically like maintain a like powerful like real connection with, like have an actual relationship, like actual friendship or whatever with, before it gets to be like too much and you like lose track, or you can't really maintain all those relationships in your head at the same time, kind of. I think that's Dunbar's number. I'm not going to look it up right now. I actually, fuck it. I was going to go on my phone and look it up. Like, this feels, I don't know. Okay, I'm trying to get comfortable. Sorry. This is the real... You know what? I might stand here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually... This might be loud for a second. I'm going to... Oh, no, wait, because that's got the headphone... Fuck. This is not going to work as well as I was hoping it would. Because I could take this up here. Oh, but the cord's not going to go as far. Wait a minute. Okay, this is a little bit weird. I'm just going to hold the recorder in the other hand and hold the mic in this. Fuck it, whatever. Is there... No, there's got to be like a... There's got to be like something higher to set this on, maybe. Where I don't have to put it all the way over there. Oh, wait. What if I just like kind of do this? Whoop. Hang on. Oh. Hey, I think this is going to work. We got it, boys. It's going to work. Yeah. So I think... Oh, now my phone's down here. I got to reference the questions and stuff. I'm going to take a drink, too. Well, my like sugar... I have like this sugar-free ginger ale thing here. Yeah, I am that guy. I'm going to... right in your ear. Deal with it. You already know. If you listen to other episodes, you already know I'm a rude fuck. So, yeah, community I think is super important, though. And But like, how do you choose between like what societal forces versus passively succumbing to defaults? So I guess, yeah, so that would be one you would choose, right, as community. But like, what would be the default? I guess community feels kind of like a default, but I don't know. I think that like the way people engage with community is sometimes in a default manner, right? They're not really engaging. They're just kind of showing up. So like, if you use the Mind If We Chat group, if we use that event as like as an example, right? If you just show up to it, you're just like, hey, what's up? And then you like sit in the corner and you don't actually like really listen and you don't talk. And it's fine if you don't talk, like whatever, you can just listen. But like if you're not even really listening, right, you're just like staring off into space, you're like, when is this thing over, right? Like you can't just show up. Like that's not enough. So like you don't want to, yeah, that would be like to me like a default way of engaging in a community. You got to actually like fully engage and like you got to participate. You have to socialize with other people. In that, for someone like me, that is like awkward at times or whatever, but you got to do it. You got to like come out of your shell and you got to try. I'm trying to think of like what other defaults there would be. What would be passively succumbing to defaults? Well, I guess, there's like echo chambers, right? That's a popular buzzword these days. I don't know if actually it might have run its course. Maybe. We can all hope, right? But that's a real thing, right? People just kind of like, they like loosely engage with like these ideas that are kind of spread around. And then they just kind of like, they're like, this is mine. Like I have ownership of this thing, or I kind of own I'm like a stakeholder in this idea, and it like feels good, but they're not really like, they don't examine it at all to see like, well, is this really what I believe? Or like, is there other ideas out there that could compete with this? Or so I think, I guess what I'm coming to the conclusion of is I think passively succumbing to defaults is like, that just seems bad to me. I feel like you shouldn't default anything. Other than, like I said before, the idea that like a community feels like it might be kind of a default, like structure in society, right? But you don't want to, maybe passively is what's throwing me off, right? I don't think you should passively and succumb. That just, I just feel like those are like automatically like, yeah, you shouldn't do that probably. But I think people do. Right. So I think really the answer here is to like have intention. The whole consciously choosing the societal force. I think that's the move, right? You can pick whatever societal forces are out there that are going to benefit you, but you should be like conscious about it and like have intention behind what you're going to do. I don't know. That's interesting. Trying to see, was there anything else here? Yeah, okay. I don't really know if I have much else to say on that one. That was a thinker. God damn. You guys are challenging me here. Okay. Hannah's got some questions. She has like 100 questions, of course, because you guys, I don't know if any of you listening know Hannah. She hangs out at the Lucky Cat if you're ever there. And she's always got a lot of questions. This is why we're friends. She likes to listen to me blather on about random boring stuff that no one else will listen to. And so I was like, oh wow, someone listens to me. That's pretty cool. But then that was like at a certain point I was like, is this a mistake? Because she has like 100,000 questions and they never stop. I'm like, I don't know how to answer all these questions. Okay. So she has, what is the relationship between individual growth and community growth? I'm just going to answer these like one by one. I think that individuals have to be growing in order to contribute to community growth. I think a community can't really grow without the individuals in that community growing with it. Because if you think about it, it's like if everyone's just kind of doing the same thing over and over, like what's changing, right? Growth implies like change. There's got to be something that's changing. So I would say that is like, it's kind of almost, it's probably not 1-to-1 though or anything, right? You know what I mean? It's like it feels like it's probably like an exponential type of thing where it's like all the little tiny bits of growth with each individual really kind of lifts the community up pretty powerfully. Because there's so many people and everything. So I think that like if every individual in the community is focused on some kind of growth, just a little bit, that lifts the community up together. That's all I have for that one right now. Maybe I'll circle back if I have any other thoughts. But and she's got a couple more questions. I exaggerate. I said like 100,000. She's already got 100,000 questions. No one has 100,000 questions. She's got literally like 3 questions. I'm just being an asshole. How can we support others in their journey to follow their intuition to inner growth? To follow their intuition. That's interesting. Because yeah, like you have to, in order to follow your intuition, to me that almost feels like that's like, I generally think of that as like you're not really paying attention to the outside world as much, right? There's this inner voice that tells you, hey, this is like the thing to do. This feels correct. And you just kind of do it. And so that is interesting how like we can support so like this is like a community kind of perspective of this. Like so other people in the community maybe, right, supporting people in their journey for this inner growth journey, right? And they're following their intuition to do it. I think asking questions is a good place to start. Like if you ask somebody questions about like what, like if somebody has like an intuition they're following, you want to kind of stay out of the way and let them follow their intuition, right? Like if the more you kind of influence them by like telling them like here's what I would do or blah blah, you're distracting them from their intuition. So if you really actually want them to follow their intuition as kind of a means to reach this inner growth here that they're trying to do, then you probably should stay out of the way of it. But you can do that and still help like encourage them by maybe asking questions, because then they can engage their own intuition with those questions. So you're kind of like, you're like not totally influencing them, but you're just kind of giving them tools. So I think that's one way you can support others in their journey to follow their intuition to inner growth. Trying to think if there'd be other ways. Honestly, just being there, just being present. That sounds weird, but man, I've been like getting more spiritual recently, I feel like, which I've never been before in my life. I think presence is really meaningful. Like just being present. You know, it's like, I don't know, if somebody is like working through a problem and they're like, you can imagine like somebody's like stuck on a problem in their head and they're like, I can't figure out the right thing to do, whatever. And they're like, you know, let's say they're like on a walk and they're just trying to just think, right? You ever go on a walk and you're just like trying to think through the problem? You're like, what, you know, how am I going to, you know, what's the right answer? I don't know. It sounds really weird, but I actually think that like human beings can influence each other as far as like energy. You can kind of give each other kind of like this energy to persevere just by being present. It's like literally just walking next to somebody while they're going through this and like trying to figure something out. You don't even have to say anything, just being there. I'm actually starting to think that is like meaningful. It sounds really weird, but like, I don't know, just imagine if you're like, imagine being in an empty room and you don't know, you're at an impasse and you don't know what to do. You're like, I have no idea what the right answer is. And like, imagine how isolating that could feel. Now imagine the room is full of like people that you know and that care about you, and they're all there, like your family and your friends or whatever, and they're all just there in that room. And they're not like intimidating you, they're not like staring at you, but they're just like hanging out and they're just there. You probably feel a little less alone at that point, at least, right? Even if you don't have like, you may not be any closer to like a specific answer, but at least you have like the energy of the people around you that's kind of like feeding your energy. So it like helps you persevere through it and try to figure out the answer. So I think maybe that's another way. So asking questions and just kind of being present, I think, are two ways you could probably like help somebody just follow their intuition to inner growth. And then the third question she had asked was, how do we nurture others to give them the strength to keep growing even when they are faced with difficulties? So like someone's facing difficulties. So kind of like what we were just, talking about. You're facing a difficult moment. You don't know the answer. How do we nurture others to give them the strength to keep growing? Well, I think I just answered that in a weird way. Like that presence. I think that is one way probably. What would be another way to nurture others to give them strength? I think sharing in your own sort of path, maybe. That's probably pretty powerful. Like just kind of like, it's like, I think people take a shit on this stuff. They really hate it when it's like, oh yeah, you're just gonna like, someone's going through something tough. You're gonna be like, well, one time I went through something tough. It's not about you. It's about them. Like, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I've heard people like kind of really shit on that kind of stuff. I think that's actually helpful. If you do it correctly, I think it can be helpful. Right? Like you just have to make sure that the focus is on this other person and not on you. But I think you can bring in your own experiences and be like, I think I feel what you're going through right now. I went through something that's kind of like it. This one thing I went through, and you kind of go into the story and you say, and here's what helped me. And like, I don't know if it'll help you, but that's something that really helped me. But then you have to reframe it. Like after you're done with that, you have to bring the focus back to them and say, like, I don't know. You have to like you have to make sure they're aware that you're giving them a tool. You're like, hey, try this. Like maybe this will help. I don't know. But either way, I'm here for you, right? Like I'm here to support you and whatever, and we'll figure it out together. But let's try, like maybe you can try this. Or even just saying we, right? Instead of maybe you can try, maybe we could try this, right? Like just reframing everything as like a we instead of a you, I think can be like a really powerful thing. I think everyone likes to feel like they're on some sort of a team instead of just being on their own. And I think some people like me, we go on our own for long enough and we delude ourselves into thinking that that's like the best way. It's like, yeah, fuck it. I don't need people. I'll just do everything by myself. But then when you like do things with people and people help you, you get help from your friends and family, then you're like, oh, in your community, you're like, that is actually way better. Like it's way more effective and it's more fun and it feels better. Like it's just everything about that is better. So I think, yeah, you have to try things. I guess this is where kind of bringing this all back around again. I think when you're trying to grow and evolve, you have to actually be willing to just try things. You can't be afraid to try things. And maybe that's part of what's scary about it is actually like just going out on a limb and just trying something you've never tried before, And I'll relate it to comedy because this all started as like a, comedy sort of affiliated podcast. You have to try like new techniques. You have to try new types of jokes sometimes. Something that I'm probably going to have to try soon because I think I'm going to be doing like a storytelling show in January. And I've been thinking about like, I might have to tell a story. And I've tried telling a story before and is difficult and it takes a long time, because you do an open mic and you get like 5 minutes and you're like, man, am I really going to spend all 5 minutes on like one bit? Like that's weird. Like, it's uncomfortable. And crowd work is also really uncomfortable for me still. It's gotten better. Like I sometimes can kind of like just riff with people a little bit. I'll like say something stupid and then like someone will react to it and then I'll like just say something else and then maybe someone says something back and I respond to them. And I try to like loosen up and just allow that to happen because I know I need to get better at crowd work because that is part of comedy a lot of times. Comedy's like it's like a living, breathing art. It's not something you just do and then it's done with and you're like, here it is. I mean, obviously you can like film a special, right? You can prepare an hour of material and eventually film a special and be like, here's this product, right? But for the most part, like, you're just doing shows and you're performing. It's all live performance. So it's this like growing, changing, organic thing. And so crowd work is definitely like a big part of that. You have to be present for the room that's in front of you, not just like reciting material like blindly. And so I know that that's part of it. I know I have to get better at it. And every time I do it, I'm like, man, this is terrible. This feels so bad. And like sometimes it doesn't go very well. And you're like, oh, I think I'm losing them. I should have just gone to my first joke. What are you doing? You're so fucking stupid. And all that judgmental voice. Every comedian knows this voice. This judgmental voice just starts coming in. He's like, dude, you suck. You can't do this. You think you're funny, dude? What's wrong with you? You're a loser. And it's just like, it's so easy to just like let that guy win, that douche in your head. But the way you beat him is you actually like you actually like live in that discomfort. You say, fuck it, I don't care. I'm gonna go up there and like I don't give a shit. The other day I did a mic and I had a set list of some new stuff I was working on, and I just wasn't feeling. I was like, I'm not doing this. This is terrible. I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and I chose one of them out of it. I'm like, I like this one. This is a new joke I'm working on. I think it's good. I'm gonna do this one, and then you know what? I have an old kind of story-ish kind of bit. It's a little bit longer and it's risky. It's hard to do. I was like, I'm going to pull this one out again. Like, screw it. I'm just going to do those two jokes. And that's what I'm doing tonight. That's just, I changed the plan on the fly. And that's just, sometimes you have to you just got to change. Like, that's the funny thing about like growing and evolving is you can just grow. You can just evolve like on the spot. Now obviously it's not real evolution, right? It's like you kind of like faking it, or not really faking it, but you're just trying something on, right? You're just like, let me just do this thing. It's way out of character for me, or it's not, it's like, I'm not comfortable with, but let's just try it. But you know, you kind of like go through those motions enough times, and guess what? You probably are going to start to find that you're changing a little bit, and maybe it's good. And maybe it's not. Maybe you're like, I don't like this change. I don't think it looks good on me. This just isn't me. Guess what? You can change back again. Like, we're humans. We can do whatever we want to do. We don't have to just like go in one direction. And I guess that's maybe something else to this whole thing, is you don't have to grow and evolve in one direction, right? We live in a 3D world. Fuck it. Grow in all three directions. That's not what that means, by the way. Grow in all three directions. The D, by the way, in 3D is directions. 3 directions: north, south, and east. That's all we have, is just those 3 directions. I don't know. I'm just saying dumb stuff. I'm going to take another sip of my sugar-free ginger ale. Shout out to Favorite Day. That's the brand I'm drinking. Fizzy ginger ale soda. 0 calories, 40 milligrams of sodium. Yeah, it's just carbonated water, citric acid, caramel color, natural flavors, stevia leaf extract, and malic acid, whatever the fuck that is. That's the stuff that's going to kill me, isn't it? The malic acid. I should have Googled that before I drank this. They're like, oh, didn't you know malic acid gives you ass cancer immediately? Shit. I better shit out my cancer if I can. Probably can't, but I'll try. Like, should have not drank this malic acid. I don't know. Sounds scary. It's acid. I'm drinking acid right now. No wonder I feel funny. No, that's just all natural. That's pretty good though. Yeah, don't derail, Zach. But yeah, you don't have to just go in one direction. You can pick and choose. You can kind of go any which way. But you got to have purpose. You have to have intention behind it. I think that's like another thing that, that's another thing that, you know, from earlier, from Leif's suggestion, talking about that kind of intention. What was it? It was consciously choosing societal forces to wield versus passively succumbing to defaults. So, Yeah, that consciously choosing thing. I think that's good. I think you should consciously choose a direction to go. And I think if you don't know, it's probably okay to default to something, but like only to give yourself time to think. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to take it easy sometimes too, right? You don't have to just go full tilt constantly. You're going to wear yourself down. It's a marathon, not a sprint, you know? So you gotta actually take your time, and you have to you come up with a game plan. And it's okay if that game plan sucks, because you can scrap it. Like, as always, you can always like start over. You can always rebrand. It's crazy, like the number of people that have gone like just in down one avenue in their life, and then they just like pivot and they do other things, and then it just works. They can just do other things now. And I think people have this weird idea that like once you choose a path, like you're stuck forever. You can never change. Like, I think Frankie Muniz, I think he does he drive cars now? Like racing? I think he's a race car driver or something. You remember Frankie? He was Malcolm in the Middle. The kid actor that played Malcolm in the Middle. He's a grown man now, he's got a family. And I think I saw on Instagram, I think he races now. Like, I don't know if he does like Formula One or something, or I have no idea. But I just saw a bunch of shit on Instagram. I'm like, oh, this is like his life now. This is what he does. But he changed. He pivoted. He's like, I don't fuck acting. I mean, well, not fuck it. I think he still likes acting or something maybe. But I don't know if he still acts in anything at all or not. But yeah, like he pivoted. He's like, fuck it. I'm going to do this now. This is my new passion. I'm going to do this. Like, and you can do that. Nobody's yelling at Frankie saying, get back to acting. Like, maybe there's some people, but fuck them. But you can just do what you want, you know? Like I like comedy. I love comedy. And I'll do it forever. I'm never going to stop, because I love it's there's this high that you get, and it's like fulfilling, deeply fulfilling when you come up with something that came from you, like your own experiences, and then you do it and it works and it makes people laugh, it makes people happy. Like, that's such a good feeling, right? So I'll do it forever. But like, if I ever have the chance to like become an actor and I do it and then I decide, you know what, I kind of like this, I'm not going to just say no to doing that, right? Like, maybe I'll end up doing that for a little while too. Probably not. I can't imagine that's something that would happen to me or that I would do. But just as an example, you know, some people pivot though. They change a little bit. They go in a new direction. And I think what I'm learning through my own journey is that it's like, okay, it's okay to be a little scared. It's scary, but like, you shouldn't let the fear stop the growth. That's the key. Is you don't want to just stop growing just because you had a thought of like, what if this thing happens? Like, that's just anxiety. You got to let that stuff go. And I'm speaking from somebody who, you know, who has a decent amount of anxiety at times. Sometimes a lot. Sometimes it's a little quieter. Lately, it's been mostly quiet. Little peaks at different times, little intense moments of anxiety, and then it kind of quiets down again. I think it's been getting better, but we don't need to talk about my anxiety. It's fine. If you want to hear about my anxiety, come to see me do comedy. I talk about that type of shit a lot, or you can just tell that I have anxiety just by listening to me talk. You're like, this guy is fucking weird. But speaking of, do I have any shows coming up that I should like promote to the nobody that is listening? Let me look at my Google Calendar. This is part of my growth and evolution. I'm going to try to use Google Calendar to actually keep track of things better, you know? Oh, I have the... am I allowed to say that? I don't know. Well, I have that storytelling show. I think that... So that's tentatively... Holy shit. On January 20th, that's a Saturday. Zach Hoyle's doing a storytelling show that I'm going to be on. I think it's going to be on the 20th. That's what he said. I don't know if that's going to change. Where did he say it was going to be? Let me look to see. Hoyle, if you change this on me and I tell all my people, all my hundreds of thousands of zero people that listen, I'm going to be pissed, dude. That's just okay, right. Pinspiration in Lyndale Mall. If you know, you know. That's where it is, okay? If you don't know where Lyndale Mall is and you're like across the world, I can't help you, but this is a local thing. I'm sorry. If you're a local, you'll probably know what Lyndale Mall is. It's in Iowa, okay? Cedar Rapids specifically. But yeah, so that's what it sounds like. Is it's going to be in Pinspiration? It's going to be in a store in a mall. That's fun, dude. Hell yeah. But yeah, so I got that coming, and then I have another thing in February probably that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about or not, because I don't really know how that all works. We're just not going to mention it. I opened for motherfucking Jackass. I didn't. It's been since the summer. This was in October. Yeah, Wee Man, Preston Lacey, Dave England. They came to Cedar Rapids, and I opened for them. That was fucking wild. Biggest moment of my tiny little career so far. Talk about growth and evolution. Holy shit. Let's talk about that for a second, because that was kind of crazy. And yeah, fucking get over it. I'm going to do that every time. That was crazy, and I think that's a good example of like what like real time, like quick growth and evolution can look like, and how you can like process the feelings you have about it. So I was obviously like, when I first found out I was on the show, I was obviously like pumped. I couldn't believe, I was like, pinch me, I'm dreaming, all that, right? The whole thing. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. You know, I grew up skateboarding, and it's like, Wee Man is coming. I'm going to open for Wee Man. Like, that's weird, right? Like, it's very bizarre, bizarro world. And to think that like this guy that's like skated a bunch of times with Tony Hawk, and now I'm going to open for him doing comedy. It's very bizarre. But yeah, so that was my first initial reaction, right? I'm just so excited that I'm booked on this show. It's so cool. But then, of course, the excitement fades. Well, it never really fades a total, right? It's always there. You're just still excited. You're like, this is crazy. I still can't believe this. Every time someone brings it up and they're like, oh, I heard about the Jackass show. You're like, this still doesn't make sense that you're even saying this. This sounds like you're making it up. You're lying to me right now. I'm not on that show. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But like alongside that, you start getting the anxiety, the pre-show nerves, and boy, did those start early, dude. Those started early on in the month. I was like, every time I would think about it, I was like, oh god, this is gonna be terrible. Oh no, like I'm not ready for this. There's no way I'm ready for this. And I was only gonna do like 5 to 10 minutes basically, so it wasn't gonna be anything crazy. It's not like I was gonna do like 20 minutes or 30 minutes or something wild, right? It's like I can do 5 to 10, but it's like, dude, there's no way this is going to go well. It was just a bunch of self-doubt. Just like, no shot. You're not the guy. Whatever. But here's some stuff that helped me get over it. So, number one, I was talking to Nancy, bartender at Joystick, which is the place I first went up. Still go there every week for open mics and stuff. Do shows there sometimes on the weekend. And Nancy told me, because I asked Nancy, I'm like, all right, you were here the night I first did my first open mic. You talked to me about speedrunning video games at the bar, and you served me drinks. You made me feel at home and relaxed, and it helped me get up that first time. You've seen me do comedy a bunch. Like, I'm going to do this big show. It's like my first really big show. Like, what's your advice, right? And Nancy told me, hey, just remember, you were booked because of something they saw, right? The person that booked you saw something that you do, that you offer. They're like, I like that. Let's get more of that on this show. So don't try to be something you're not, right? Just do the thing you do. Like, don't overthink it. Like, that's, if they wanted something else, they might have booked someone else, right? Like, they wanted the thing you have. So just do the thing you have. Like, just basically just chill. Like, don't overthink it. Just chill. Do the stuff you already know how to do, because that's why they booked you. I was like, oh, well, that just logically makes sense, right? So that already kind of chilled me out a little. I was like, oh yeah, that is a good point. Like, I'm acting like, oh, I'm not ready. There's no way I'm ready for this. It's like, well, if I wasn't ready for this, why would I be booked on this, right? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Just all you got to do is just deliver the best of your ability, like the best that you can do of the stuff you already do, and it'll be fine. So that definitely helped. Another thing that really helped me prepare was I watched this video talking about like nerves before a show and stuff, and this guy, it was like a musician who'd been performing for like 30 years or something crazy, and he's like, excitement and what was he saying? He was like, excitement and like the nerves that you feel, the anxiety, the performance anxiety, they're like two sides of the same coin. They're basically the same feeling, with your brain just like judging that feeling differently, right? You're framing it differently in your head, but like the physical feelings are kind of similar. So it's like, it's really the same thing. So if you just take the performance anxiety stuff and you just tell yourself, oh, I'm just really excited for this big opportunity, right? Like, this is a big show, so of course I'm excited. This is going to be great. And you just frame that way in your mind, you'll be able to manage it better. And that helped tremendously. I the day of, because, wake up the day of, I'm like, oh God. What have I done? I'm in over my head this time. There's no way this is going to pan out. And then I was thinking about that, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just really excited right now. I should be, because this is going to be an awesome experience. This is a great experience for me. This is a big show. I'm pumped. I'm just jazzed about it, right? Like, and that did help me kind of like, it didn't calm me, right? That's the wrong word, but it reframed my mental like state about the way I physically felt, and in a way that was very manageable, where I was like, oh, this is cool, right? It's fun to be excited, right? Being excited is a good thing. So that helped as well. But here's one of the biggest things that helped, because none of that stuff is going to like take you all the way there. Because at a certain point, you got to show up to the venue, and then shit gets real, right? You roll up, you park, you go inside, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, this show is actually going to start soon. Like, this is happening in the next, like, whatever, hour and a half. Like, this is going to happen soon. You're going to have to get up there and actually deliver. And so that those nerves really hit you. And you try to reframe it. You're like, I'm just excited. And you're like, also, I feel like I'm going to like shit my pants because I'm so scared. And so it's like, it's real. And so how do you deal with that? Well, you got to just get into your element. And how did I get into my element? Well, I didn't even choose to do this, but shout out Tom Garland. He's the guy who booked me. He has a lot of experience doing comedy, has opened for Steve-O and those guys. He knew the Jackass guys going way back. So that's part of why he was able to kind of book them and bring them in. And he like, but he just made me feel at ease. Like, I'm over at the bar. I got a drink. I was like, I'll get like 1 to 2 drinks. I don't want to drink more than that, because, then that might be like, might fuck up my ability to do comedy very well. 1 to 2 drinks is okay. Anything more than that might be pushing it. That might be a little risky. So I stuck to just 2 drinks before the show. But I'm sitting there sipping on my drink, and Tom just starts telling me stories of like different, like, we were talking about roast battles, and I don't remember anymore what he said, but he was telling me a roast that was at one of these roast battles, and I collapsed on the bar. Like, I died laughing. It was so funny. And what it did is he brought me into my element of like, oh, we're just comics having fun at the bar, right? I know how to do this. I've done this a bunch of times, just hanging out with people, standing near the bar, talking shit, just having fun. And so I was loose. I got really loose and relaxed and in my element. And then I felt a little bit of nerves as I was about to go on stage. And then I grabbed the microphone, and it all just faded away faster than you can imagine. And I just performed my stuff. The training kicked in, and I just did my stuff just like I always do. Had a great set, got off stage, got the little dap up from Preston Lacey that I had a good set. And it was amazing. It was a night out of a dream. It felt like a dream world. It was crazy. But that's what you can do if you just believe in yourself and you convince yourself that you have to remember that when you're in certain positions in life, you probably are in this position for a reason. It's not just random bullshit, right? So to have like some belief in yourself, and don't be afraid to try new things. I don't have much else to say. Yeah, I'm going to stay on this growth journey that I'm on, going to keep running on the treadmill every day, going to keep meditating, going to keep working on my comedy. Been working on some skills to try to upgrade my job at some point, maybe get some higher pay. I'm just working on everything, and I'm going to keep doing that. And you, dear listener, should also do the same. In whatever you do, I wish you Godspeed. This has been Voice Memo for later. I'll see you guys next time, whenever that is. I don't know. Like I said, it's not weekly anymore. It's just whenever. Look out for my new podcast, title pending, about learning stuff. I don't know when that's going to come out. I'll let you know. Whenever I know, I will let you guys know. But until next time, peace.